How's it going today? Today we're going to talk about the 5 surprising things this year that I'm kind of surprised about. I'm not fully surprised. I'm just surprised how good they are, you know. But anyway, make sure you like and subscribe. We're going to talk about some things today. Basically starting off number 5, just how basically all the markets are up, and it's kind of weird. Like I like to call these golden years, where it's like a golden year where basically everything's up. Everything, if you would have bought it a year ago from today, you've been up. I think, I don't know, there's one stock that's down. I don't think there's any. And I call them kind of golden year or whatever. We had one in 2017 where the market just kind of went up every day. And in 2017 also, it just kind of went up. It's just one of these weird years you get in the market where everything just is golden. Everything is good. Just buy everything. It had some hesitation, more like hesitation, but the way it ended, I mean, everybody's just saying how good it is and everything. It was a good year. It was really a good year. Everything was up. I'm surprised how much these are up and how big. Got some big companies up quite a bit, and everything's up. Gold was up. I think even bonds were up. So I mean, it's kind of weird when bonds are up and stocks are up. Usually that's kind of weird. Normally bonds do well or stocks do well. Because they're kind of like, if stocks do bad, I'm going to buy bonds, and if bonds, are bad, then I'm going to buy stocks. I mean, it kind of plays off. Even stock was up. I think even Bitcoin was up. Gold was up. I know that. So essentially it was kind of just everything. If you would buy anything last year at this time of year, the market was horrible actually last year, with the sell off, but I mean, the way it came back, it came really roaring back. I mean, it just basically just as soon as it hit January of last year, it just took off, and that was it, I mean, and, anyway, number 4 is Nvidia up. I mean, a lot of these people were saying Nvidia was the end of Nvidia, and everybody was bashing it. Man, I was telling people to buy this thing. I was just like, Jesus. And this was was one of them stocks that I was like, I couldn't believe it sold off so much. It had some bad things, but their outlook was still the same. I mean, it had some inventory problem, had Bitcoin. Basically, people were using Bitcoin to crypto mine and all that stuff, and Bitcoin kind of fell apart, so people stopped, so they returned it, and they didn't know. So it kind of locked up some inventory, so they had to reduce prices and all that good stuff. But anyway, that stock is up 73% this year. So, I mean, that stock's been on fire. It's one of these stocks that have done well over the last year. It's really, when you think of Nvidia, think of AI, databases, and stuff like that. And now number 3, I was kind of shocked by it. Was the big banks beat the market. I actually bought Bank of America and JP Morgan, and a shareholder of each one. I mean, the thing Bank of America actually got oversold, so I'm really not shocked that they came back. It's just actually they're beating the market without dividends. If you add in dividends, they're beating it even more because the dividend yields are actually pretty good, actually, for the banks. I mean, especially when they were last year. I mean, they were well over I think almost 4%, some of them. I think JP Morgan had a little higher one. But Bank of America actually went below its book value, which is, it's just kind of stupid why a company would go book value. Basically, what that means is, basically, if you took all the assets, let's say I had $100 in assets, $50 in liability, maybe a credit card, you take that out, your net, your book value would be $50. So basically, Bank of America went below that. So basically, you could buy, it'd be like buying that for $30. So I mean, it's just kind of crazy, kind of how bad the market was. I mean, I think a lot of this is just contributing how bad the market was. So it's because actually, if you look over all-time high to all-time high, it's actually only up 10%. So it's just the average. So it's actually almost, you can almost say it's been an average year, but it had that horrible thing that a lot of people credit, saying it's the year. So if you look at the all-time high, which we had in September of 2018, it's only up 10% from today. So if you go year to date, year over year, you get these spectacular returns, which that's what I'm kind of talking about. And Apple is number 2. Apple is just kind of blows me away. I mean, people were so negative. They said Apple, it was the end of Apple. I remember there was an article. It was the end of the good years for Apple. It was all behind them. And hell, I think even Buffett sold some of his Apple shares. I mean, it was the end of the world for Apple. I mean, Apple was down It was down over 20%. It was end of the world. They was asking Steve Wozniak, is it the end for Apple? And he just kind of laughed and he said, it's always the end for Apple. But anyway, and it went below its discount value. So essentially, it's just, and it's up 72%. So, I mean, this stock it surprises me. I did not think, I knew it would recover, and I knew it probably hit an all-time high, but I didn't think it would be, I was shooting around maybe 230, when I bought it around 160, 170, around there. I was thinking, man, this thing's going to just get 130. It's going to be a nice stock. I'm just kind of going to hold on to it, going to pay a nice dividend, and that's how it's going to be. But, man, this thing just exploded. I mean, this thing just up 72%. I mean, over 280 some odd dollars. I mean, I was just shocked. I mean, I was just completely blown away by how much Apple has just basically, it's back on top again. I think it still beats out Microsoft. So, I mean, I'm just shocked about how Apple did, and but in a good way. So anyway, the number one thing that I thought was completely shocking, but not too much, is Shopify. Shopify is one of these things. I mean, this thing was basically the king this year. Shopify is probably one of the best performing stocks that I know of. I mean, it's basically just been it's been on fire this year. I mean, it's up over 200%. I mean, this stock is just killing it this year. I mean, it's just, I couldn't believe it. I mean, how much this stock has ran up. I mean, this thing's up. I mean, I was shocked because especially if it's hit 400. I mean, it's over up. When I was buying it, in 2016, actually, I read an article. It was called The Next Amazon. I don't know, way back 2016 was this article. And I was reading it, and they were calling it the next Amazon. Everybody was calling it, so I was like, I got to research this company. And actually, I started a Shopify store with this company. I was like, what, this company is really, really good. Everybody was still going on, but I was kind of hesitant, so I didn't put a whole lot in it. I didn't pile my whole net worth, which I wish I did, but I didn't. I just bought just a little bit, started position, nothing too drastic, but this thing's up actually over 20 times. I mean, this thing's just, I mean, Shopify's just been on fire. I mean, especially this year. I mean, this thing, and it was just kind of hovering. 2018 was actually a horrible year for it. Really, I mean, it didn't beat the market. It was over. It just kind of, it shot up to 170. Then it just kind of trailed. It took a whole year, and it bottomed like at 112, and then this thing just got shot of the cannon, and this thing just kept rallying and rallying and rallying. Will it continue? Maybe not. I think it's a good company. I think it might have got ahead of itself a little bit, but still not selling it. I still believe in it, and basically that's about it. That's the 5 shockers, or whatever you want to call it, that I was happily surprised about. And that's really about it for this year. I might do a video reviewing the whole year where I talk about a lot. Then I might do a video talk about the disappointments, which it ain't much. But that's about it. And thank you for watching. Leave a comment what you're surprised about. I mean, there's been a lot of good performing stocks this year. I mean, the market's been really, really good. Hopefully it can keep it up, but that's why you got to get into it when everybody's saying it's negative. And it was so negative last year. I mean, it was too negative. It has some negative things to be negative about, but it was just over negative. And you got to take advantage of them when you see that, which I'm glad I did. Looking back, hopefully you guys have been a good year for you guys. And make sure you leave a comment, like it. Love what you guys have to say. And thank you for watching. Thank you.